Like in Yellowstone, with the reintroduction of wolves, coyote numbers went down by 50%. We have every reason to believe that something like that would have happened um, other places on the continent. And it's not just an issue of turkeys and quail and hunting. The fact is we have all the grassland nesting birds in North America are in a population crisis. And while that, I'm sure habitat is a big part of that, sometimes there's only so many levers you can pull. Regarding habitat. And I think in light of this information, we have every reason to believe that even with perfect habitat conditions, mesopredators would still be an issue. And it gets even more complicated when you think about it from a Pleistocene perspective, or from an African perspective, where I live, in that, from the perspective of the pre-human conditions of North America, wolves and mountain lions and bears are just more mesofauna. They are not top carnivores as far as the long-term evolutionary history of North America goes. So I guess, I grew up a greenie tree hugger forever, but I do think that there's every reason to believe that some bigger animal would have done to wolves the same thing that wolves did to coyotes. So do we need to be contemplating putting on the table wolf culls as a ecological tool? I think it's possible that wolves are in some places having an impact on ungulates that is not natural. Air quotes. Natural in air quotes. So I don't know. This is all just to say I'm not 100% convinced that the anti-predator culling camp totally has the moral high ground in that debate. You would also have those large animals contributing carrion, and the mesofauna, prehistorically, it's possible that the mesofauna some of those animals were primarily scavenging the kills of larger animals. So potentially you'd have fewer animals that are spending more of their time eating something other than grassland nesting birds. I mean, most of you living in the US live somewhere that would have had jaguars if the Pleistocene extinctions hadn't occurred. And from here, leopards love eating jackals and baboons, the closest ecological equivalents of coyotes and raccoons in North America. All these other impacts of larger predators would muddy the waters in terms of, if wolves were suppressed, then would they suppress coyotes less, which maybe in turn coyotes would suppress skunks and raccoons more? I don't know. But I do know here in Africa, where I live along with lions and hyenas and leopards, there's a ton of guinea fowl. There's a ton of spurfowl. There's a ton of upland game birds all over the place. That's anecdotal. I don't know what the populations are of those exactly and how they compare. But